what's up? It seems like there's something on your mind.
Man, I really wish my drums slapped.
What's up? This is Toru, music producer based in Mexico City. I just dropped a new single called Glow. It's now streaming on all platforms. I'll link it in the description below, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. Today we're going to take a quick look at specifically the drums and how I process them and got them to sound the way that they do in this particular track. So in case you haven't heard the song already, we're going to listen to a little bit right now for some context. All right, so now let's look at the drums specifically. If you're curious about the key part, I did do a whole nother video about that, so I'll link that. Please go ahead and check it out, and it shows you the way that I mix the keys in this particular track and all the plugins that I use for that. But today, it's drums. So here are all the plugins I'm using on the drums. I kind of think of them as three sections. So the first section is saturation, this decapitator, saturation knob, and sausage fattener, where I'm trying to dirty the drums up some. Here's the compressor where I'm trying to do a little bit of gluing together. So these last two, the EQ4, I feel like I use that for shaping the tonality of the drums at the end. And then the Q3, I really use to kind of just clean up the stereo image and the overall kind of shape of the drum kit. So here's the drums by themselves with all of the plugins on. Let's turn them off. So I really like these drums even without any processing. I think they're really dry and dead. I just wanted to dirty them up and tighten them up a little bit. So in my opinion, I feel like what I did is just kind of make them maybe even more dead and get rid of some of the tails. So for me, I really wanted them to just be kind of almost squeezed a little bit. And I feel like I was able to do that with a series of these plugins. So for saturation, I used 3 plugins. I feel like when I started, I was trying to do it all with one plugin, and I felt like I just wasn't able to achieve the sound I wanted. I felt like I was either oversaturating the drums and making them a little bit more distorted than I wanted them to be, or I couldn't get them quite saturated or distorted enough. So what I did was try to use a little bit of like serial processing and just using a really little bit of saturation a few different times with different plugins. We'll add them one at a time and see if you can tell the difference. Also, I'll even pull up this VU meter so you can see that I'm trying to maintain a consistent volume and energy level, because what I don't want to do is think that something is processed and sounds better simply because overall it's louder. So there may be some small changes, but overall I'm keeping it pretty close. So let's listen one at a time. So you can see this overall volume level is staying the same. And what I'm trying to do is just get this to be a little bit more dirty and punchy. And I feel like I'm really getting that. And I'm only using, again, 2.2 out of 10 in terms of the drive. And the overall dry wet on the decapitator is 13.5%. So next we have the soft tube saturation knob, which by the way is free. So if you don't already have it, it might be worth checking out if you like the way this sounds. So again, up to the decapitator, and we're gonna add in the saturation knob. Let's listen. For me, I feel like I just start to hear a little bit more of that bottom on that snare, and I really like that. So next is the sausage fattener. So you have the fatness, which is the saturation knob, the color, which I think of as sort of brightness, and then the gain at the end of this so that you can level match everything. Again, very, very little. I'm using 4% of the fatness, 3% of the color. So let's listen before that. What's interesting there is I feel like you can even see that these drums appear to get a little bit quieter overall in terms of the level, but they feel, again, to me to be slightly more dirty and punchy, and so I like that. So again, I think of these 3 plugins sort of as one because they're all kind of serving the same purpose in the processing of these drums. So let's listen to the drums completely dry again, and then we'll add all 3 at once. All right, so moving on from the saturation, now we have the Wolf compressor. Let's listen before and after. Here's without, 2 bars in, I'll turn it back on. So for me, using this compressor in this case makes me feel like these drums are punching a little bit harder, and I even perceive them to be a little bit more aggressive and loud, even though the level stays the same according to the meter. So here I'm using this Mag EQ4 plugin to kind of reshape some of the tonality of the kit overall. So I'd say the notable changes here, I'm boosting at 40 Hertz, cutting at 160, cutting at 650, boosting at 2.5K, and then boosting a considerable amount here at this 40 kilohertz band. Technically, as far as I know, we can't hear beyond 20 kilohertz, and even at that point, like, you have to have pretty good hearing to really hear the detail there. 40 kilohertz we don't really hear in this particular plugin, supposedly allows you to boost there, and so you do get some interesting results. So let's listen to it without this EQ, and then 2 bars in, we'll reintroduce the EQ. I feel like boosting at this 40 Hertz really makes the drums feel a little bit more bottom heavy. And I feel like it loses a lot of the brightness, even though I'm boosting here around 2.5 and I'm boosting at this 40 kilohertz. But I really like overall the drums feel a little darker, but they also feel more glued and in control to me. So I really like that as the foundation for the track in this case. So last but not least, we have the Pro Q3. And really what I'm doing here is rolling off lows, everything below 28 Hertz, just trying to get rid of that stuff that we can't hear that does impact our overall headroom in the mix. And then here, rolling off below 100 Hertz, everything on the sides. So the idea is just really trying to keep my kick super center, and then boosting a little bit on the sides here in terms of hats and presence. So before and after. So now that we've walked through all of the plugins, let's listen to the drums in the context of the entire track with and without the plugins. First, without. So that's how I process the drums on Glow, and that's why they sound the way that they sound. I hope that you dig that, and the next time that you listen to the track, that you keep that in mind. If you haven't already heard it, go check it out. It's now streaming on your favorite platform, and I'll link all that below so that you can get to it quick. If you've already heard it, maybe go run it back again now that you know all this about the drums. And if you'd like to know about the keys, go check out the other video. I also did a video breaking down how I mixed the Rhodes part for this song, so I'll link that as well. Thank you again for watching this video. This has been Toru, and in a way, so are you. Peace.